Chapter 22. Spoiler. Grayscale. A memoir of an introverted leader by Mohamed Fadel. Join us in this chapter where we explore the many topics and discussions this memoir has sparked between us. You will hear us talking about all sorts of things, starting with our childhood, how we could relate to the author's journey, and as always, we will share with you our favorite quotes and our opinions on them. Come and live with us in the Grayscale, where everything is but black and white. We post every Monday. Turn the page.
Welcome to another chapter of Between the Pages. If this is your first time joining us on our podcast, welcome. We are your hosts. My name is Nesma.
And I'm Haneen.
We host this podcast together where we review books and recommend them for you to read.
We usually have non-spoiler chapters for those of you who want a spoiler-free review of a book, and spoiler chapters where we simply review the book down to every last detail.
Today we have Grayscale, a memoir of an introverted leader by Mohamed Fadel. If you haven't listened to our non-spoiler chapter yet, then go ahead and do that. This is mainly for those who have read the book and want to hear our discussion.
Yeah, sure. We're going to pick this spoiler chapter from the very beginning of the book. We're going to
go the very end of it.
We're going to go through each chapter, like see what we highlighted, what we found relevant, what happened to us that is similar,
what we could relate to personally, and what we found very. You know, when you read a book and then there's this quote, it's like, oh my god, this quote is perfect. This is so like it speaks to me.
Yes,
it speaks to
or
me.
It describes something I felt at some point, and
yes, exactly. And this is kind of what we're going to approach in this episode.
So hop on with our childhood, basically, just like he did.
Just like he did.
I think you didn't have much of a similar childhood.
Not really, no. No, there weren't a lot of similarities, which is why it was hard to relate to him at first, you know?
You're in Germany, right?
Yeah.
Till what age? I don't remember.
Maybe 6 or 7. 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Till I came here to second grade. Yeah.
6?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. And I did have a different childhood. So the only thing that I could relate to was like his speaking English and everything.
Yeah.
But for me, it's different. Like like I said before, off record, I have a get out of jail free card. Like where people did make fun of me for speaking English. But
you look foreign, so.
I do look foreign, so I get a pass, you know, so they do make fun of me, and when they do get to know me, they know that, oh, she can't really speak Arabic, or if she tries to speak Arabic, she's not confident enough, so, طبعا my Arabic is now way better than it was
I vouch for that.
a couple years ago.
Her Arabic is like mine, so that's not speaking highly of it.
But I wasn't like Mohammed was in the story. He was more, he's pure Egyptian, so when he speaks English, he gets to hear some stuff about it.
Yeah, me too. I hear a lot of stuff about it. Every day from Arabic, my father.
In Arabic, we would say بيمسكوا كل كلمة.
Yeah.
And
just like a couple of days ago, when we had my sisters over, they were... still, Rahma mentioned that we were the fascination of the school.
Yeah. We were saying that the people were either like with us or completely against us, you know, making fun of us or loving us. There was no in between.
There was this kind of fascination, I guess, and jealousy.
Yeah, I think maybe jealousy as well. But hey, like we don't have to judge.
We were oblivious of the fact, Asla.
We were so oblivious. We had no idea what was going on. We only found out about these things after we left the school.
Yeah,
which
from my sister.
From your sister, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I
for
guess
you?
there is a lot of, yes, traveling with family to the same place every year. We had that. At some point, I hated it. I wanted to go see other places, but yeah, now I feel nostalgic about these days. And at school, I was, I don't know, in primary, I was a bit more outgoing than I am now, I guess. I was still not an introvert, really, I guess. Or maybe I was, but I was trying to be cool.
To try to fit in.
Yeah.
There was something about him saying that being the class clown was was his way into being social with people.
Yeah. Or
And
cool,
I
yeah.
really get that. Like, but I try to, like, making people laugh is something that I love to do, and I'm good at it. I think I am. But I only do it with people that are close to me, you know, like I know how to get the laughs out of them, and I know my moves, and I know like what they like and what makes them smile. So that's like really something I love to do, but I would never ever do that in a classroom, you know, like make a whole classroom laugh. Why? Simply because I think it's disrespectful to the teacher.
Yeah.
I can never.
I admired my teachers.
If there's like an authoritative figure in the classroom, I could never be like silly and jump around. No, I would be the girl like you would never hear a peep from. You know, I would never speak up. I would never raise my hand unless I'm spoken to. I would never try to be in the spotlight or any of
Read a passage from the novel or whatever.
Yeah, but
that was horrible.
I think it's quite contradicting for Mohamed Fadel to be the class clown, even though he's an introvert. I'm not saying that introverts can't be class clowns, but I feel like, how did he get there? You know, I think maybe because he's a guy. No, I think maybe because he's a guy. Maybe it's like something related, because introverted girls is something else entirely than introverted guys.
Yeah.
And my brother is an introvert, but he can still be the funny person, you know, all the time. I've
never experienced them making jokes, so I don't know. I guess my experience at school growing up was the teachers were my friends. I would go spend time in their staff room and during the break, and not
you would?
Yes, and not with my classmates. I was so nerdy. What else did I do? I remember once there was something that at school, a rule that I didn't agree with. Someone was like making us do something, and I didn't agree with what they're doing. One of the teachers or the coordinators or whatever. So I was actually rebellious, and I didn't do what they were saying, and I gave them a hard time, and I can't believe I did that.
Wow.
But yeah, that was once. And once in KJ1, I think. KG1.
KG1, honey.
Yes, I don't remember what happened, but the punishment was at that time
Timeout?
No, not timeout. It was go sit with the boys or go sit with the girls. It was the classroom was divided in two, so there will be this one girl or one boy sitting with the girls, and anyone who would come into the classroom would know that they were the one who did something wrong. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I felt horrible.
And imagine Rahma for your sister. This wouldn't be a punishment.
No,
this would
it wasn't.
Be her.
It wasn't. I can say that.
This would be like her seeing her other friends.
True.
Oh my god. No, I barely got punished when I was a kid, when I was in school. And when I did, it was horrifying. You know, because it rarely happened. So when it did happen, I was like, oh my god, this is what it feels like.
I'm such a bad person, yes. And I would cry and wouldn't stop. And how did I get there? And I didn't mean it.
And it's not even your fault at the end. Maybe you're like, someone was asking for a pen and you told them I don't have one, and then so the teacher catches you speaking, and then it's like, why is it my fault?
I remember once in middle school, I was kicked out of class, and like I kept crying. The floor coordinator, she was so shocked that I was out there. I mean, what did you? I don't even remember right now what I did, but she was, oh my god, she actually entered the class and was like, انت ازاي خرجتيها؟ انت ازاي خرجتيها؟
It's like, how dare you?
She was arguing this with the teacher. How dare you put her out? She's like
the angel of the class.
Yeah.
I remember, this is actually hilarious. I remember during IG, there was a parent-teacher conference, and I think it was the physics teacher.
Dr. Hazem, I love that guy.
And mom went to him and to check on me and everything, and then he was like, "Who's Nesma?" From the amount of quietness that I have during class, the teacher doesn't even notice me that I'm there.
You don't even exist.
I don't even exist. So even during teacher conference, the doctor had to actually check on the name list to see if I was part of the class or not. Oh my god.
That is actually funny.
That is so funny. But anyway, we've been talking about ourselves for too long.
Yeah.
We should get back to Mohamed Fadel, who is the center of our podcast, and his memoir. Starting from...
Okay, in his first chapter, there was like this admission that he's a sore loser. And I guess as like if this is like not a virtue in childhood, my not virtue in my childhood was that I wouldn't share anything with my siblings.
Remember? You would keep everything for them?
Yeah, I had this. Mom took this video of me, and she was like. Telling me my dad was abroad, and she was like, this video will go to your father, so like can you tell him that you would like share your stuff with Rahman. ما بحبش المشاركة. And I was adamant about it. I wouldn't share my stuff. Rahma actually confessed to me later that she used to wait till I go to bed, and then she would play with all my toys.
No way.
And then put them back.
No way.
Yeah, I can't believe I was that horrible.
Oh my god, such a rebel. No, I was as well like that, but I was like that with my room. Like when we came here to Egypt and I had my own room, I was very territorial. I gave my brother hell for it. Like, wow. I would kick him out all the time and not let him enter, even though he wanted to play with me. I was so mean. Like, when I just think about those days where I was like a teenager and all the hormones and everything, I was so mean to him all the time. And I'm trying to make up for it now. Really, every day.
No, I guess when I went into my teenage, I became like much... like blasé, you know, like take whatever you want, do whatever you want, just don't come near my books.
I think I'm more like that than ever. Like I even let him use whatever he likes from my room. He can even read my books if he wants to. I let him use anything he wants because I just need to make up
for it.
I need to make up for all the years that I treated him badly.
True.
Because I was horrible, I have to admit.
And then there was this thing he said that Noreen was more street smart than him.
Oh,
this is Rahma. She's more street smart than I am.
Yeah. But I'm comparing you to me. You're more street smart than I am.
True.
Right?
True.
Like I consider you street smart. Like compared to myself.
I think it's because you were more sheltered growing up, like not to take public transportation or go somewhere alone. No, from 6th grade, I think that let us be
everywhere.
Yeah.
Fly, my little ducklings. Okay, so I had this quote in mind because we like the movie Whiplash. Okay.
Yeah.
Mohamed Fadel said, I stopped going to swim practice after some time as I had already grasped the gist of it, and I could move on. I wasn't meant to be a professional swimmer, but I learned enough to be a good one. Sometimes I do wonder, would I have continued if my experience with my coach had been somehow different? Back then, I didn't really consider that. But what if I'd had a more encouraging coach instead of one who was demeaning and dismissive? I might have not been athletically equipped, but I also might have been. I wouldn't know. So, of course, I can relate to this very personally because I took swimming lessons as well when I was a kid, and I hated it. I hated every minute of it. Because the coaches were very harsh, very harsh. And I think I don't blame them, because in a sport like that, you have to be harsh or else you're not going to push your students.
Yeah.
But then again, I want to bring this back to the idea of whiplash. You know, there's this guy who's looking for the perfect drummer, and he wants to challenge this drummer guy to
Be the greatest.
to be the greatest ever. Okay. And he believes that there are, what was this quote again?
There are no more damaging words in the English language than a great job.
Than the words
or a good job.
Than the words good job.
Yeah.
And it's always the idea of pushing harder and harder and harder. And the one who breaks is not the one who's meant to be that person. The one who doesn't break is the one who will succeed in this department. And this is the idea of, like, should we have someone who, like, doesn't push us and more, like, gives us the encouragement that we need so we continue? Or do we need people who push us to our limits, and then when we give up, we realize this is actually not what we want to do, you know?
Yeah.
So
it is a controversy, but personally for me, I'm a person who always knows what they want from the thing, the activity they're doing, or the thing they're entering, or whatever. Like, I know where I want to be.
But how do I know the difference between failure and giving up? Like, for me, sometimes they're the same, you know? Like, if I give up on something, or maybe I tried my hardest and I gave up on it anyway, am I a quitter? Or did I make the right decision to move on to something better? You know, sometimes it's like, I don't know the difference, and I can't tell until, like, very later on in life, you know? But I don't regret, like, quitting swimming. I quit for other reasons as well, because I'm a hijabi, so for me, like, the equipment is only the swimsuit. So if you don't have the correct swimsuit that you can wear, you already lost, you know? Like, because when you enter competitions, like, the swimsuit weighs you down if it's too heavy.
Yeah.
And they're, like, literally
a lot of material.
milliseconds difference between the first place and the second place and the third place. So it's like, really, every second counts in that sport, and it's it wasn't really equipped. I wasn't really equipped for it anymore. So plus it takes a lot of emotional and physical toll out of you. Like, you feel exhausted and drained, and there's no power left anymore, you know?
No motivation, nothing to drive you forward.
It's very physically challenging, and if you don't have any passion in the sport, خلاص, that's not for you, you know?
Yeah.
So this was an interesting
I don't know.
quote.
I guess with me, like, it happened in when I started archery in high school.
Yeah.
It was something I chose, not something I was put in or, like, fancied when as a child. No, it was something I wanted to do. And I didn't want to go to tournaments or, like, take places or even advance very high with the, like, range distances and everything. I just wanted to
have fun. And
yes,
just
have fun and use it as a therapy to clear my head and, like, get out of the house maybe when, like, studying so much for IG. But I guess the reason I left it was because our coach wanted us to go to tournaments, take places, and this is not what I want. He wasn't that pushy. He wasn't abusive, like, no Flash at all. No, he's like the kindest coach ever. Yeah, but the expectation weighed me down and made me just, okay, it's not like going to go anymore.
You just avoid disappointing him, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Like, so why should I do that to myself? You know, it's for me, it's not about the tournament. So if that's what you want me here for, I'll just go.
Yeah. Anyway, and exactly like he said in the next chapter, Mohamed Fadel, that some individuals are quite influential in our lives growing up, yet we often fail to realize the effect they have on us. And definitely, like, I don't want to even go back to connect the dots to why I am the way I am because of, like, my bringing up or the people I had in my life. But some people were...
it's not pretty.
Yeah. Like, other than your parents and aunties and uncles, and there are your teachers as well. I was influenced by... usually, I guess, by my English teachers. Wow.
Same.
English language teachers. Yeah, it was in primary and in middle school. And actually in high school, Dr. Zubaydah.
Dr. Zubaydah, yes. I was just thinking about it.
But more like, when people ask me now, who are your role models, I don't think of real people, actually. I think
of fictional characters.
Of fictional characters. That I would want to be more like them, or maybe have their courage or compassion or kindness or drive or whatever. Like, not that I have like successful people around me or good people around me. I just don't observe them anymore like I would as a child,
Yeah.
Okay, I think growing up as teenagers, us and Mohamed Fadel, we had this similar, I don't know, I guess experience. Like when he started gaming and losing himself in the virtual world.
Yes.
I guess it's the same with us starting to read novels and losing himself in that world of stories and... Yeah.
For me, it was also TV shows. Like, oh my God, there's
stories, basically.
Stories in any form they can come. Like audiobooks, podcasts. Like my interest has developed over time. Like only reading started with German books. I only read German books when I was little. Like childish things, actually, more like it. And then I moved to English once I came here to Egypt. Actually, one of the first couple English books that I bought were when I was friends with you, I think.
Yeah, Divergent and The Secret Circle and Shatter Me.
The Secret Circle and Shatter Me. I miss those days. Well, and then after that, my interest started to develop into TV shows. I remember starting with Pretty Little Liars and never finished it till now.
I did finish it, and I don't remember anything.
Yeah. And after that, I discovered Vampire Diaries. And then it just spiraled from then on.
Yeah.
The books kept piling up and the TV shows got even more stronger and everything. Yeah. So it's like
but I can even
a coping mechanism in its own, kida. It's like a whole world that we created that where we go to feel fine, to feel okay.
Yes.
To feel like
ourselves.
Yeah. To feel cut off from the world, to be released from our problems every once in a while.
And I admit it is a fix, like he even mentioned to the games of him needing his fix. It's a kind of addiction, reading and gaming, and you always need more of it. Like, think of when you finish a book.
What do you do?
You start another. You can't help it. You can't just sit with not having.
I do believe that collecting books and reading books are two separate things. I mean, sometimes I feel like I am a collector as well as a reader. Like, I buy a lot of books.
You do.
Buy a lot of books.
Yeah.
It's almost impulsive at this point.
And I don't know, do I stop you or do I enable you?
No, you do not stop me.
I don't want to be your mom.
Yeah, I was just going to say the only person who should stop me is my own mom. But you're my friend. You're my best friend. So you do not stop me. You support me.
Yeah. Enable you.
And you enable me. Yeah, you even drive me to the bookstore so I can buy the things.
Okay, I also related a lot to the dilemma whether I should stay here in Egypt or just to start a life out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's different from when I was still starting high school and having the dream of being a film editor in Hollywood, working on movie adaptations and of the books that I read and stuff. When I started studying here and then getting more exposed to cinema that addresses humanity and social issues, and I understood, I really did understand, and I really did, and Yom Ad-Din and many other movies there, yes, in Arabic, I actually started being affected by them and seeing their power.
Yeah.
Of course, I knew the power of changing people through cinema or stories, basically. But I'm experiencing it firsthand. But then I started thinking more about our country and how I want it to be, and how I want to not even like be part of movies that addresses issues directly. No, I want to be part of movies that actually addresses these things subtly, you know? Like, I don't know, like not, for example, the way men are portrayed in cinema now, it's like Muhammad Ramadan and like these gangsters, and I don't know, I'm not even watching these things, but like it frustrates me, and now it teaches
other men
to be like that, and this is the ideal they have to look up for. And for example, I'd like to work on movies that don't address this issue, but like maybe have a portrayal of men that are basically gentlemen, and like change the way they treat women or are viewed in society or whatever, you know. It's I'm still forming this in my head, but like, yeah, I want to give more here. I won't rest, like I won't leave and feel that that I'm on the right track without trying here first, trying to affect the culture and society.
Like what you're trying to say, you want to remove like the traditional old style acting where there's this dominant male in the TV show where everything happens his way.
Not acting, but themes, basically.
Themes, plot lines, whatever. So,
not just this specific issue. I mean, other things.
Or other things as well.
Like, for example, let's take one of like ISIC's goal that is aligned with the United Nations. No poverty, for example. So instead of making movies that are about poor people and how they're suffering, we can make movies about how we're actually lifting those people from the poverty with education and projects and money, and like how society leans on each other and like lifts each other up. And you see, like I want to actually make the change that basically Isaac is making, but through stories.
Yeah.
Because I believe that no one, if you, just like Isaac is doing it with experience, like with making people experience this change and being a part of it, I believe that people get more affected other than with experience by stories. So when they feel with the character, the achievement and the struggle and like everything, they get motivated to do it, you know, or change something in themselves or the people around them.
That's true.
Yeah. Like if you have a character that is an idol to you, you would want to follow that character instead of just having someone advise you to give money to the poor, for example. You know, it's not as effective. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, that's a beautiful goal. And you should work towards it.
Yeah.
And don't give up.
It's
do you hear me? Don't give up. Say it with me.
Don't give up. And then there is this idea that like frustrates me here. And I have experienced it in high school as well, when they wanted me to be a dentist. Just because I'm clever at school, so I should be a dentist or a doctor or whatever, or the idea of be an engineer or a doctor because they are like highly esteemed or whatever.
Well, my dad, surprisingly enough, wanted me to study computer science for a while. He was trying to convince me that this is the direction I should go into. Imagine me in computer science. No. Nope, thank you.
But I was smart about it, and I did not study chemistry, so then no medical or engineering school would take me.
Good job, Haneen.
Yeah.
Planning for the future.
Anyways, I believe that a big part of why we're so behind or we're still developing is that like the youth didn't study and work on what they're passionate about. Like anyone who would go through engineering school or medical school and through the hell they go through and they don't love it and they feel like it's like a prison, how would they be creative afterwards or try to do something like proactive in the community, you know? Or even believe in what they're doing?
Well, I mean, look, for some people, it might be hard to follow their dreams and to be independent in that area. So not everyone can do what they desire. It's not that easy. You know, sometimes other people find it more comforting to please other people, you know? And that's not something to judge. Like, even if we have the faith and we believe in something that I cannot live with myself unless I study something that I'm so passionate about that even if I hate it sometimes, I can still go through it because I love it, you know? But other people find strength in, like,
having the support of their parents,
exactly,
example,
having
and the people around them.
Yeah. And maybe they even do love some aspects of that, like what they study, like engineering. Maybe they only love one part of it, but the other part is terrible, but they have to go through it, you know?
Yeah.
Just like
I mean, I felt that I was so, like, it was so hard on me having my mom upset that I don't want to follow her dream, or my aunt or whatever, you know. It was كده attention phase that I hated so much, but I couldn't live with I knew I couldn't live the life of a doctor, you know.
yeah.
This, like,
and you have the right to choose
yes,
the life you want. You have the right to choose.
Exactly. And I don't wish that to be on anyone, you know.
Yeah.
Of having to live a life they don't want.
But I have met people in my life, like, when I tell them, what are you passionate about? Like, what are your dreams for the future?
They don't know.
Nothing.
Some people don't know what they want.
No, they don't know.
A lot, actually, of people don't know what they want. And I don't know where that came from. Where is that aimlessness coming from, you know?
It's so scary, like, living through a phase in your life where you need to decide what you need to study and you don't know what you want.
I know.
Like, God be with you. And the thing is, like, with these things, you shouldn't feel pressure, you know? Even if you enter a faculty and you try it for a couple of months, you can still change your mind. Like, just because you entered it doesn't mean you have to do it for 4 years. In
my class, in my university class, there are at least 30 people who shifted transferred from engineering, political science, dentistry, everything, and they had a year to go. And they just shifted. They spent like 4 or 3 years in this faculty, and then mass comm opened, and they transferred just because they didn't want that. And I admired them so much to have this courage. So yeah.
All right. So one of the things that I was really, like, I asked you personally, like, how would an introvert want to enter this type of thing or this type of club? Because club again. Organization.
Yeah.
And, like, what do they think they would come out of it? Like, I personally don't find organizations like that appealing, simply because I am an introvert and I'm very attached to my comfort zone and
your private space, and
plus I don't have a family that encourages me to leave my comfort zone, so I simply just stay where I am, you know, stay put.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, but, you know, sometimes I really wish I was brave enough or, like, courageous enough to go into that direction.
It takes courage, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I experienced something before Isaac and with Isaac that, like, the effect of it left me, so I'm not motivated anymore to, like, be affected by people and affect them. But I felt it at some time, in I guess 3 years ago or 2 years ago, when I had my first conference. We were divided into tribes. And knowing that I like tasks to be done, like, I have this control issue. Yeah. I decided, okay, I'm going to be the leader of the tribe. They didn't have any, like, problem with that. And I actually did affect them somehow, or, like,
help them.
Or I don't know. I was seen as someone I'm not. I was suddenly out of my comfort zone كده.
Yeah.
And actually we talked a lot about comfort zones and how to make them bigger or get out of them, or like to achieve more, to do something you really wanted to do all along and you're just كده too scared to do it. And I was very moved by the chairman of the conference, Nihal and Yahya. They were amazing, really. They talked about برضو their journey in ISEC and what they did on their exchange and what they have achieved and all the struggles they went through. They weren't introverts, but like, yeah. There's this vibe and like, I don't know. Energy. Yes, there's this energy around you that makes you like want to do something, want to, I don't know, take on the world. Yes, yeah. Make it change. And I guess like Mohamed was also like affected by that, having connected with people and like it's energy, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I can really understand that, like alone from on a smaller scale, like when I work in group projects for my uni, and there's like, I mean, bigger projects like graduation type of thing, but not the actual graduation. Like we had a dubbing project where we had to organize to bring the actors for, and we had to have script writers and translators, and we all needed to work together and to make this beautiful scene from a movie, I think they were a whole 10 minutes translated, actors that were dubbing the characters, and we needed to be there to see how everything was done. And it's like working as a team is exhausting, but the results are amazing.
Yes.
You know, it's very enlightening as well. And I find, funnily enough, that introverts make the best leaders in a way. You know, I think in ourselves we are control freaks.
Yeah.
You know, a little. And I think that's what drives us to be good leaders, you know, because we always want everything to be perfect. We always want everything to be right.
And we have empathy for people as well.
Yeah.
Though I feel I'm more task-oriented at times.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I just like to get things done, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's scary to have all the things that you lean on. Your time alone, your private space,
it gets all taken away, like sucked in, kida. Like all of a sudden the time that you had to yourself is being interfered or taken away from this thing that you decided to take part in, and all of a sudden you feel like you're under attack and you want to go back to the way everything was.
Exactly.
Like literally your comfort zone, you know. And it's like, it's very hard to get out of that, you know?
Yeah.
It's so...
But I guess, like with Fadel, he made Isaac his comfort zone, in a way.
In a way, he did.
Yeah.
In a way, he did.
That's how he survived,
genius,
I think, yes.
This is genius.
Like, for me, like, with me, I'm on a team, on the brand team, and I actually don't know anything about the rest of the team. I'm just working with my team leader, and we have this synergy where we, like, have...
It's like you have your own little corner in the whole organization.
Yes. I'm doing, like, I'm sure the posts I do attracts people or something, and then maybe they go on a journey and be affected, and that was because I'm part of that team or that, like, having felt that energy. Yes, I want to feel it again. I want to be part of a team, part of something like that does something bigger and actually feel it with other people, but I feel I'm not ready for it now, you know? Just, I don't know.
There was this quote from chapter 18, Everything is Possible. He says, "Am I then a successful leader or a failed one? Was trusting in people to come through and rise to their forecasted potential the right thing to do? Or was I too naive? Should I have seen the best in people or just called it as it was? Was I wrong to never fire anyone or let go of the toxic people before they got out of hand? Since I'm the leader, am I to blame for everything that goes wrong, or should I not be too hard on myself and give accountability where it's due? Too many questions, insecurities, and inhibitions." I think we can both agree that the very last 3 chapters were like the most intense and the most empowering of them all.
Yes. It gives you a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Not taking any actions, but just thinking it through.
And I mean, like, when he said those words, I was like, oh,
yeah.
I felt like
and like before,
poor guy.
Exactly. And before that, he took the blame. Let me remember.
It was here. I believe that leaders are always at the forefront of everything, taking ownership of every little action and responsibility for every minor glitch. I blamed myself for every team member I lost, even the ones who seemed to be out of my control, since I always managed to trace it back to a past event or an action that I'd done or failed to do. Although my term was one of the most successful on paper, it was a major failure in my books. I held on to a lot of pain at the end of it and didn't believe I'd find my way back or be able to function again. It was done. It was another failure scribbled along many of its injured siblings in a long banged up script labeled life.
Yeah.
It's so depressing.
The thing about introverts, we internalize everything.
Everything.
So we tend to take the blame of everything.
We always think we're at fault. We're the reason.
If we had done better, if we had thought better, if we had acted differently. But I mean, sometimes it's a perk of actually owning up to this and then thinking how to fix it, instead of just putting the blame on something else or someone else.
Being egotistical, like thinking I'm not the problem, other people are the problem. You don't want that.
Yeah.
And you also don't want the extreme in the other direction where you think everything is your fault. Because then you'd go crazy. So I think there should be like a healthy balance between knowing when you're to blame and when you're not, Yeah. And I think a lot of the cases, like Fadel, I think he wasn't at fault. I think from what I read in the book, he gave it his best. It's like, I think I wanted to compare it with parenting, like there's no rule book, there's no right or wrong. Of course, there are black and white, right or wrong things that you can do.
But there is context as well.
There's context as well, like you said, yeah. And it's always looking at your past decisions and always thinking that you did your best, you gave it your 100%. I made the right decision in that moment that I thought was right. Okay, maybe the reason why you're looking back at those decisions is because you're smarter than you were before, so you have a better out view on it. So you'd rather wish you'd done things differently, but why go there? I know it's hard not to go there, especially when we internalize and overthink and everything, and we have that deep part in our minds where we can't stop from going there. But it's we shouldn't, like in his case, he shouldn't be hard on himself at all. Like, especially when you're a leader of such a big organization.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Be proud of yourself. Own your decisions.
Yeah, true. And, like, referring to what I was saying about the conference, here Fadel described it as, I felt connected to Isaac and I felt I belonged. I was finally no longer wandering aimlessly through life, but I had a purpose and I was making a real difference. Isaac meant everything to me. To believe that my time was up was upsetting. Isaac felt like home, and I couldn't believe I had reached the end of the line. I think for him it was what uni, for example, was for me. I found my purpose in like filmmaking, and I was passionate about learning it and like doing more and learning more and doing more projects and growing in that area. And in his case, he didn't have that in his studies, so that was like a lifeline كده of like I can go somewhere. I don't know.
I think this is a lot what people experience when they finish college. This aimlessness and this pointlessness of what did I just do for the last 4 years,
Yeah.
And like a lot of people don't know what to do after they finish college. Like maybe they bet their best friends at that time, and they like the uni literally becomes your second home. Like you spend so much time there, maybe even more than you spend your time at home.
Which was Isaac for Fadel. He didn't spend more time there. Yeah.
It's exactly the same. Speaking of, there was this other thing in Isaac that I found very interesting. Was one of Isaac's tradition is the way they announce who passes a vote of confidence or gets elected during the election process. They do it a bit differently than probably anywhere else. The announcement does not happen in a phone call. It does not happen via email. It does not happen through a Facebook post. They do it in person, having all candidates and voters present. I wanted to ask you, were you ever part of a meeting like that or a conference?
No.
Never?
No. Like, the biggest event I've been to was the conference, and one night it was the gala night, and they had awards for the members who had achieved something in the past quarter or term. Like,
I think it was so hilarious when, like, the bucket of water thing. I found it very funny.
I heard about it in that conference, actually. Nihal told us about it.
This organization is so unique.
Mm-hmm. It has its own character and culture, and yeah.
Which is so scary as an introvert. You have no idea. Like thinking they have their thing, their traditions, they are a family, and they're like the gang at school that you can never be friends with. You know what I mean? Like, they're the untouchable people from my perspective.
But we all enter like on the same level, and then we form a team together, and we have someone who was there before us, the team leader, and so on, who would carry our hand through it.
I guess it just takes a leap of faith.
Yeah, true.
Didn't he say that in one of his quotes?
Yeah, in the last chapter, I think.
Yeah, right. The very last one, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Should I read it?
Yeah.
Okay, it was in the afterword. Dear friend, trust your gut. Although you might at times feel like a decision is too big for you to take alone, rallying in too many minds to the rescue might ultimately backfire. You sometimes need to take a leap. And just trust whatever you feel is what it is. It doesn't always have to be logical. It doesn't always have to be scientific. Sometimes we ought to let our hearts precede our minds in the pecking order and give them the ruling of the day. Like, sometimes he's such a great writer. Yeah. There are other... Yeah, this is something that I also wanted to mention, that why did he not include his speeches in the book?
I never thought about that, and when you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, why didn't we get to read the speech?
I would have loved to read that speech. Like, he kept bragging about it, how he was nailing it and everything, and I'm like, okay, give me the speech. Yeah. I want to hear it. What is it? What are you saying? You're just saying you're saying a speech, but where's the speech? That was something he could have included in the book.
You know, something else he mentioned or said, I learned that one should not change themselves or try to suppress their strength to fit in. The right opportunities will find their way to you when the time is right. Mm-hmm. And I like this saying very much because my sister keeps pushing me to do anything, work anything related to media, and no, I want to work in cinema. I want to be a film editor. I just don't want to be all over the place, and so yeah, I guess the right opportunities will come.
They surely will. Will. But I don't want you to be too set in your mind. Like, if an opportunity comes your way and it's something good, but it's not directly in the field that you always wanted to, don't turn it down, you know? You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing. It's a good thing that I'm self-aware, very self-aware actually. Just because I am self-aware, I know what I want and what I don't want, and what I need and what I don't. So, like you said, some opportunities may come my way, and I know I don't need them or I don't want them. This won't take me in the direction I want to. So why? I feel like being self-aware is not making me do what I want to do. Not do what I want, do anything, basically. I'm just passive, I guess. Mm-hmm. And that's something I'm trying to sort out.
There's also this one. Chapter 28, Connecting the Dots. When I look back at all my experiences through life, and even when I look at myself today, I find one thing worthy of constant remembrance. That I'm human, and as a human, I'm riddled with flaws. Shunning and not accepting myself because of them is like rejecting my innate cellular formation, because humans are not meant to be perfect, and neither should I. The sooner I learn to accept myself for who I am, accept my failures and mistakes, accept my flaws for what they are, and grow from them, and because of them, the more value I give back to myself and in turn to others. It's so comforting, to read that. And it's like you feel like he is talking about himself, but it sounds like he's talking to you, He's trying to tell you something, that even though he is talking about himself, it's also a message that anyone who's reading this, try not to be so hard on yourself. And even though these are wise words, he's probably still struggling and everything,
It's coming from imperfection as well.
It is coming from imperfection. And he is saying that he is flawed and he is human. And that even though he's trying to be perfect, we shouldn't be trying to be perfect simply because it's impossible. We can't be.
True.
Even though we always try to be. Yeah. And even his words about writing, they encouraged me a lot. I
knew they would.
Like, do you think you have a book in you? And I'm like, yes. I do. I do. It's like he said here in the book, if I can't create my own world in real life, I thought I can do it through writing. I wanted to let others live in a world I created, just as the author J.K. Rowling did for millions of other people. And I'm like, yep, we can agree on something.
Yeah.
We definitely agree on that.
Well, that's what I meant by our talk earlier of stories, how they affect people and how they can actually create change.
Mm-hmm. I still need to think about the kind of change that I want to start. I still don't. For me, my stories are only stories. They're not a call to action or like a morality story or something like that. They're more like fiction. Like witches and powers and the supernatural, and it's all
entertainment or
it's
amusement.
Just pure, exactly. It's pure entertainment, like you said. But I think it's missing a purpose, and that's maybe why I can't really finish writing it, because it's missing that purpose.
Yeah.
Like there's a huge gap in the novel that I don't know what to fill with. So we'll see about it. We'll see how it goes.
About what Fadel talks about accepting yourself and knowing your strength and not being too hard on yourself. I guess it is important as well for people around us not to employ tough love. Again, my sister does.
Like your sister.
By the way, my sister is younger than I am, but for some reason the roles don't fit. But I wanted to read a quote from another book that I feel is
relevant
apt for now. Yes.
Yeah.
It's from a book called Please Understand Me by David Kersey.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a memoir or anything. It's just a book about Myers-Briggs personalities. The opening of that book, something that comforted me for a while. Whenever someone tries to make me fit in or act normal or act like anyone or points at a weakness that I have, but actually I see it as a strength, and they want it it's a weakness, so you should improve it so you can find, I don't know, whatever opportunity or whatever. I think of that passage a lot. Yes, here. If you do not want what I want, please try not to tell me that my want is wrong, or if my beliefs are different from yours, at least pause before you set out to correct them. Or if my emotion seems less or more intense than yours, given the same circumstances, try not to ask me to feel other than I do. Or if I act or fail to act in the manner of your design for action, please let me be. I do not, for the moment at least, ask you to understand me. That will come only when you're willing to give up trying to change me into a copy of you. If you will allow me any of my own wants or emotions or beliefs or actions, then you open yourself to the possibility that someday these ways of mine might not seem so wrong and might finally appear as right for me. To put up with me is the first step to understanding me. Not that you embrace my ways as right for you, but that you are to but that you are no longer irritated or disappointed with me for my seeming waywardness. And one day, perhaps, in trying to understand me, you might come to prize my differences, and far from seeking to change me, might preserve and even cherish those differences. I may be your spouse, your parent, your offspring, your friend, your colleague, but whatever our relation, this I know. You and I are fundamentally different, and both of us have to march to our own drummer. The reason I find this passage so appropriate to the book is, like, along the way with the theme of grayscale and that nothing is as black and white, that everyone is different and you have to acknowledge your weaknesses and your strength and act accordingly. And I think it's essential as well, if you're a leader, to understand this, to not try to make your team a copy of you or be a copy of them so you can fit in and like be good. And
the other way around.
Yeah, I think there was this like underlayer to all his journey of this, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Now that you say it like that, I can totally see it. Like, there was another quote that he said, "I've had failures, but I've also had accomplishments. I just choose to no longer label an experience as one or the other. It's both. And so will be everything else in life that's part of seeing things in grayscale." In the last chapter, I thought it was the last lines. That would have been cute.
The last
that would have been cute if he ended his book with the
name of the book. Like old movies.
Yeah.
No, surprisingly, the last quote. The last quote is what came to mind one day on location when, like, I was asked to write anything on a sticky note and stick it on the locker as, like, set dressing for the movie. It came to my mind without even thinking about it, that it is but a brush stroke in the tapestry that is life, right?
Yeah, for it is all nothing but a brushstroke in the very elaborate yet beautiful portrait that is the life of every single one of us.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
I do have to say that I noticed that the last episode in the non-spoiler, I maybe came off a little as not liking the book. Maybe I have to correct that a little. Because I did enjoy it. But here we go again.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy parts of the book. It's not my usual read, so that's why I'm very critical of it. You know, I don't usually read memoirs that much, but I like how memoirs give you a lot to talk about, you know, because it's a real person.
Yes,
you know,
and it's basically life again.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of real stuff to talk about, not just a story. No, it's like life events and relating to a real person
and events that actually had consequence, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he drew my attention to also, like, a notion here. He said, happiness comes when you win a game, ace an exam, or your number comes in the lottery, and then it goes away. Fulfillment, on the other hand, lasts. It's something more underlying. That is what I've been missing, and I didn't have an answer for it yet, but I was going to make it my mission to find out. Okay, it was chapter 27. Yeah, it was towards the end. But I mean, I never thought about it. Like,
Ever thought about what?
Happiness and fulfillment. Yeah.
Neither have I. It's not something that I usually think about.
No, I think I usually think if I'm going to do something, I may as well enjoy it. So that's why I entered the career that I enjoy. Like, I used to enjoy as, like, a user, you know. It's like it's what makes me do anything, basically, is that I enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but does it fulfill me?
Look, I mean, I personally, like, when it comes to that stuff, I have a very high threshold for tolerance, you know, like, even if I don't 100% like something, I still see it through, because just out of curiosity and out of loyalty, I guess. You know, like once I start something, I need to see it, the whole thing through. That's how I function. I can't just be like 50-50, you know? And it's something that, like with a job as well, like I can't just do the job. No, I have to like do it for a year or do it for a couple of months to see if I actually like it, you know?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have tried teaching, for example, just for a month and said...
Me, one of them? No, it wasn't for a month. It was for a whole
like,
school year.
For a month. Yeah, no. I mean, you tried it for a long time. So I believe you when you say you don't like it. But like there are other people who like only tried it for like a week or less than a month. And I'm like, that's not even long enough. Like that's probably the time where the kids don't even know your name. Like it takes them like weeks to remember you and to get used to you. So, and even though it is exhausting, it is an exhausting job, it has moments in it where you feel happy, you know, like finally you've been trying to bring them some information and all of a sudden one of the students understood everything you were saying and they're answering all the questions right, and I'm like, yes, I did this, I helped this kid, and it's interesting. I personally, it's not 100% what I want to do. Being a writer is still 100% my job, and it's my dream job. But I am willing to try other things in relation to that. You know, like I'm not completely, no, I'm only going to be a writer and nothing else, you know. I still need to earn some cash, you know, every now and then.
I hate this idea of working to earn money.
It's not just for the money.
I hope I never need it. Like, I really do hope, because it will kill me.
Well, it's not just for the money, in my defense. It's also because I am a graduate of Elsun and I literally took TEFL classes. TEFL are teaching English as a foreign language. So I am equipped to be a teacher, and that's what I'm supposed to be after I graduate.
So it's a waste if I'm not?
Yeah, it is a waste if I don't do it. At least for a year, and then I see what happens, you know?
Yeah. You know, thinking about it, editing actually fulfills me. I feel so good, and like to have put everything together and made it right and made it make sense. It's such a, it is a fulfilling to me. Okay,
Wow. Making discoveries. Getting to know ourselves.
Yeah. Here's something he said. I was walking in the footsteps of others' expectations, trying to live up to the vision of the person people expected me to be.
I remember that.
But I wasn't who I wanted to be, nor was I doing what I wanted to do. I wasn't being true to myself. The answer was clear. There was something off, and I needed to act. This is something I always tried to avoid, like the expectations of others. I'm actually maybe quite negative about it. Whenever there is someone who has high expectations of me and like gives me in the family, for example, gives me an advice and he expects me to take it or like actually change or take their word or whatever, I sort of start to pull away and cut them off little by little. I don't need that pressure on me. I want to be true to myself, to what I want, not what you want. And again, it goes back to like, let me have my own wants and beliefs and emotions and everything. I don't know if it's
healthy. It definitely isn't, but
it takes the pressure off me.
It's you, so we can't judge you for that.
And his chapter about dead time and a lifetime, oh my god, I really can't, like, it's killing me that I have dead time, but at the same time it takes a lot of energy from me to have a lifetime, you know.
At first I didn't get what you meant with dead time. When you said a lifetime, I was like, oh, okay, that's what she means. Well, I mean, I don't know. With that kind of stuff, I think just live your life. You know, when you start thinking about that, you're adding unnecessary pressure. You know, you don't need that.
I mean, I'm aware I'm sometimes passive, but
passive,
but I'm not, but I can't be active right now, you know?
Yeah.
It's just...
It takes a lot of energy to be active. Yeah, I know that.
And I don't want someone to give me a push. I just want it to come from me, so I'm actually not miserable when I'm active, you know? Life is complicated.
Tell me about it.
Can we go back to high school?
Oh, I don't know about that, sweetie.
Things were simple.
Not really, no.
One last thing that I think we should take from this book and like close with it, and I think we actually really need it right now.
What is it?
We're fresh graduates and we're on new beginnings.
Tell me.
So I guess let's
Read.
Yeah. Okay, he said that accordingly, I opted to take control of my life by segmenting it into singular components in separate buckets, so I can work toward filling each with its most suited element: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and financial. I've been going at those 5 for long now, making strides in one and baby steps in others. But the one thing that's common between them all is progress. And I think me and you, we really do need to do that. Like, let's
Make
I learned-
separate
yeah.
lists for each goal.
for each segment of our life and
Yeah.
make goals for them. And
And I guess
plans.
not just us, everyone who's
Everyone,
listening.
yeah. I learned that actually in my first year in uni when I went on that camp. They told us to do that, and I started doing it, but I don't know. I felt I was already going towards something in each of that segment. I was still at the start of my university, which basically the start of my career, and like I felt I was already making headway in even other aspects of my life. But
Yeah.
now that I'm done, I think I need to review
Review
my life,
everything.
basically. And I like keeping things. He reminded me of it. I had forgotten about it, and then when I read this, I was like, right, that's what I need to get out of that life slump I'm in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think let's do that.
Let's do that. We'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this episode. We had a lot to say.
And the book is very relevant because, like you said, it's real. Happened to someone as young as us. And it reminds us to let's live again. Get out of this passivity we're in, or I'm in,
Let's
or whatever.
do something about
Let's
our
do
lives.
something. We
Yeah.
can do it. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It is a call to action.
Exactly like we said in the non-spoiler.
Live in the grayscale.
Yeah.
Do not live in the black and white. And do not be hard on yourself. We're still human. And we make mistakes. And to always have our goals in mind. To never stray from our goals. Like he did, you know. He did stray from them, but then he went back to again and looked again, what do I actually want? And he changed. And we should take that as a role. I don't want to say role model. What's it called? A reference of sorts to something to look up to. And to have faith that we can do it too.
Yes, let's take a leap of faith.
Take a leap of faith. We'll see you guys in the next chapter.
See you.
Bye. Thank you for making it to the end of this chapter. We hope this book encourages you to embark on your own journey, just like us. For next chapter, we have something new for you in store. The Accidental Empress by Alison Pataki is a novel that we picked up inspired by a real empress in the history of the Austrian Empire by the name of Sissi. We post every Monday. Mark the page for chapter 23.